Hey everyone, welcome to season 2 of Creative Callouts. I'm Giggila, and this time my guest is an award-winning and decorated creative creator that has been in the community for years. He has mastered the art of tutorials, mechanics, and showcases. He also has 500 million plus plays and 150k subs across all social medias. Please welcome Immature Gamer to Creative Callouts.
Thank you. Wow, what an intro. I
No.
sound really cool when you say it like that.
No, I mean, honestly, you've been around this community since the beginning of it, and it's so great with the influence you've had on the community, and it is such a positive part of the community. Your little group is always amazing to see.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah, no, it's yeah, I think we're in 5 years now, 4 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's time has flown. I would have never guessed any of this. I mean, when all this was started, I mean, very few people were creating or just like we're doing anything even on social media. So yeah, it's how this
Yeah.
has evolved has been crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean, Creative's been around since what, December 18? So,
2018. So
yeah,
yeah,
2018, yeah.
yeah, 5 years.
And yeah, it was 5 years just last month. And
Very
I mean, I haven't been around since the start, as I was actually kind of late into creative, but you've been around for ages, and you've been here literally since I believe it's day one in creative, haven't you?
Yes, yes. I started dabbling the first week or two in creative, but I was
Mm,
watching it. I remember watching when creative first came out. They gave it to influencers first.
yeah.
I think Nick A30 was one of them. There was a few, so I remember watching, what they were making. And by the way, creative 5 years ago was way different. It was very limited.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
could barely make anything. And so I don't know. I actually was like, I don't think this is like I was like I don't who's gonna do this. Who's like, but whatever. I was way wrong. I actually thought I was like, this is kind of silly. This is kind of dumb. But I it kind of eventually like it started taking off, and for me, I really started diving into it early on just because I was where I worked at the time. I worked in a remote location in
Mm.
Alaska, and my internet was really bad off of work, so I couldn't like play Fortnite, but I could actually build
Oh.
Fortnite. So I would I started making maps. I started making things, and oh, it really I don't know your question, so I don't. Maybe you're gonna ask me how I get started. So I don't want to like. I'm afraid to like get into certain things, but
No, we'll hit off on that first one then. Obviously, you you started off with making some. Obviously, they were way different type of creative maps back then, and but what was your first ever map you released?
so the first map I ever made was an edit course um with a 1v1. So let me think about this. Wow. I think I'm trying to think of like my first map.
Hmm.
But if, I remember the first map I made and started like publishing and made content
Yeah.
around um was this like edit course, and
Yeah.
then I put like a 1v1. Like back then I didn't know anything about game design and development, and it was one of those like none of it made sense, but like, oh, this map needs this here, this map needs this here. This, like
Yeah.
it was awful design, but um it was that that I started making there was really at the time, so 1v1 maps were very like they weren't popular at all yet, but they were very
Yeah.
popular. Like they were 1v1ing was very popular on YouTube and Fortnite, and it
Hmm.
consisted of, it wasn't really in creative yet, but it was consisted of the like how people used to 1v1 was in a playground mode that we don't no longer have.
Yeah.
You could basically fly and go into, like, everyone would just fly into tilted towers. You would like pickaxe gather all your resources and everything, and you would set up your own 1v1 arena, and like you had like 30 minutes or an hour, I can't remember, till the storm came in. Or you would hope that the storm wouldn't come into Tilted early. So
Yeah.
so that's how it was. So like once we started getting more tools, things we could do in creative, I really started focusing on the 1v1 genre, because I noticed when I made content on it, people loved it. And it really started to flourish. So yeah, so my first maps and things like that were edit courses, aim things, because I just wanted to play. For it was really for me, because I was trying to get better at the game and I couldn't play it, so I was trying to make my own ways to get practice by myself while I had bad internet.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, you said you were in Alaska. I think you said you was.
Yeah, I've said. I think I've if you follow me, you'll know that. But yeah, I used to work in an oil field up in a remote location in Alaska. I'm born and raised in Alaska. I no longer live there. It's a little chilly. But yeah, that's what I used to do. So yeah, when when I got off work, I wanted to play games.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it for you it must have been so different to not be able to play like the battle royale version, because that was in that time was literally, I think, the biggest part of it, because creative was not even talked about apart from its release, and I don't think it gained traction for like a year after it or something.
Yeah,
But
so I think I'm trying. I have to go look back and look when I just was looking at all this stuff too. Now I forget so fast just because it's been 5 years. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was probably 6 months to a year. We got triggered. We got triggers is when like things really started to take off in Fortnite creative.
yeah,
And this we had 8 channels max. So we had now if you're in Fortnite creative or UEFN. Channel
so
system that's no more. It's
yeah,
direct event binding. But so imagine you could only connect 8 things in direct event binding. That's all we had. And so what's really interesting about that, and this is kind of actually I've talked about this before, but it's kind of my part, or how like I think my career kind of started taking off, was because of triggers, because it allowed us to start making actual game mechanics, allowed us to enable barriers, allowed us to trigger things in game and sentries and certain things. So my first dabbling, I got into Fortnite creative a little bit, and my channel, I started a YouTube channel as well, and it was primarily Call of Duty. Then Fortnite came out, and I started switching over to Fortnite content, literally like tips and trick videos. But then I started apps, and I started posting that content, and it started really, really taking off. Like my content, like those the videos would do 5 to 10 to 100,000 views. So I was like, oh, this is very interesting. So I kind of kept down that road. I've tried different things, but triggers came out, and then I created the most advanced 1v1, which this video today has over 1 million views. That was kind of like my big break. And again, we had 8 channels, and I can little trigger here someone made for me.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, yeah.
I've posted it. But this is a trigger device, and this right here, like I said, is the reason today. But I created basically this mechanic where 1v1s, you had to do an honor system. You would kind of count down together, and you would make like a little window. You'd edit the wall and you go. That's just how it was. But I actually created like a barrier and a countdown system where we didn't have HUD. I don't even know if we had a HUD device back then, or we definitely like timers or any, like HUDs were very limited. So I used a sequencer device with music blocks, and it was timed. So when 2 people were on 2 triggers, it would start a sequencer and go doop 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 doop, and then it would sound, and it would drop the barrier, and they would go. So that was the first time no one's ever done. It was the first time that was ever done. Like I'm saying I invented that is kind of hilarious today, but back then a lot of this stuff was hard. People didn't think about it. It was so new. So, but then on top of that, what was really interesting as well is I created the first auto reset. So,
okay.
Below, like, so we had centuries, and you
Mm.
could make in the sentries that were on the plate system. Like you couldn't
Yeah.
move them anywhere. They had to be on
No,
grid.
they were on there. They were pads.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I put them under the ground, and I put we had an indestructible gallery, so you couldn't break
Hmm.
these pieces. But I put those above, so you would basically your 1v1 ramps are here, and on top right here, the sentry was essentially, this is like the worst thing ever here. I'm trying to the sentries were down here, and but you would build off the ramp right here. So when you press reset, it would kind of like the player would be near this reset button over here, and that sentry would aim at them and shoot, but it would just hit that roof, but it would explode and it would break all the builds. So it was like it looked like an automatic reset.
Wow.
And yeah, so that was the first, that's the most advanced 1v1, and it was also one of the first maps to have all weapons, which is a huge trend, obviously, today.
Oh, you see it every day.
So no one did that because it took me again so we didn't have item granters. You couldn't copy paste, so you had to go in and place a plate item granter back then on every square. And we don't have, we probably had half, maybe more than, I don't know, amount of weapons and items that we do now, but it was still took days to do it, like manually. You had to put it in, you had to go edit the setting and each one, and then drop, each item. It was wild. So it took for like those days, like would take forever to build a map. Today, that map would take me 30 minutes to make,
Yeah, I mean, nowadays I'm sure I've worked on a 1v1 map at some point. Actually, yeah, no, I think I've worked on two, actually. And one was in 1.0, one was 2.0, actually.
Okay.
And the 1.0 takes so much longer to do than what it is in 2.0 now, because, I mean, you can just copy and paste things in the editor, but using, like, the phone tool, it's amazing, don't get me wrong, but you've got to do each weapon, you've got to move it all around, and thankfully there weren't that many weapons when I think I did the 1.0 one.
Yeah.
Well, there was still probably hundreds, but still not as much as today. Like with today's weapons, they must be close to like 700, 800 in there with all the rarities and all that.
Yeah, you'd have to like control A and under weapons and C or something. I actually don't. I wish I would love to know the amount, but you're right with all the variants and stuff. Totally. And I mean, and now in the editor, it's like, you can just click it and search and click, and it's in the granter. It's so easy. But it's cool that you have experience in both, and you kind of understand that process. But so when did you start Fortnite creative building?
Officially, I started Chapter 2 Season 5, but I didn't start publishing until summer 21.
Okay, when did you build that 1v1 map?
That would have been 20. It would have been 21. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'm trying to think of our feature set. I mean, we're much better at that time.
Yeah.
Like you could, you could multi-select and copy and hotbar things and all that stuff. Like again, everything used to be super and it's cool that you got to see a lot like the evolution of Fortnite creative. A lot of OGs they're like fading away. I don't know. I'm not. It's not even funny. I hate saying that, but like, it's people don't realize like like a lot of us were in the trenches for a long time to get Fortnite creative to where it is today.
Yeah, I mean with the amount of maps you see nowadays, it's like I only get to really see obviously the maps I work on, and while I do talk to many people in the community now and get to talk to them about their maps, I mean the maps I've worked on can either take like, depending on the difficulty, it could take a couple days, or it's the longest I've worked on a map is 4 months. I think it is just over 4 months actually. I think it would be.
No, I mean totally right. I mean it maps now. Well, I mean world part. I mean you can make massive maps now.
Oh yeah.
We can make. I mean there is still limitations, right? We still have memory limits. But and also there's a point of performance. You can
Yeah.
add a lot of stuff, but it might make your game run very bad. But yeah, for sure, there's so much you can really, and this is what I'll tell this to anybody they ask me today. You really need to do proof of concepts before you
Yeah.
put everything into a game. Right now,
Mm.
just start small, get it out there, see if it works, and if you gain traction, then add on to it
Yeah.
and let it and keep it going. Because as is right now, with Discovery, there's definitely there's a little bit of a crapshoot to it.
Yeah.
You have so if you make a great game, it has a chance, and it could.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen games without any promotion in Discovery take off and do. I've seen it.
Oh, yeah.
But generally, you've seen a lot of people partner with bigger
Yeah.
influencers, and those give it a nice boost. And generally help. But if those games aren't good, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, and it's all nowadays. It used to just be what plays, wasn't it? It used to just count, but now it counts playtime, number of players, how many people are online. You get to actually see that now, and like the way they actually do it is a lot different. And it's no longer just on the SAC anymore. It's now on its own island creator. They're now two separate things.
Yeah, SAC is essentially for influencers now. It's not even a part of the map
Yeah.
process. It's just if you're an influencer. Or I mean, people could put your code in still and buy stuff, you'll see it, but it's really kind of disconnected now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, early on we didn't get any analytics, and then we started to get like a email. Some creators will remember we get an email, and it would I think it would just tell us our plays. I haven't even thought about this in a long time.
Oh, wow.
I'm sure I have those emails somewhere. But it would be like it would tell us our plays. I'm trying to think what else it told us. But I think mine is very limited. We didn't get much.
Yeah.
And then they brought the creator portal in, which is now evolved into more. Like you said, we can see plays, retention, average play time, total plays, CCUs, and then we just actually got two new metrics: new players, and like I think new players returning after 28 days in Fortnite, and new players in Fortnite. I have to look at that again, but those are very very new metrics we just got.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember all the things in there off the top of my head, but I know there's recurring players, playtime, number of players. So I know there's all of those, but
yep,
I didn't know of it. Used to just be emails. That is because when I came in, it was just Creator Portal 1.0, but now. No emails. Wow. Okay, they used. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Way early on, and so this is what was kind of like I said, like so I was making content on YouTube, and some of these videos, like I said, did like 1 million views. They did crazy, but my map, I had there's no discovery either back then. There's no way for people to basically people just had to get your map code and then go into Fortnite Creative like you see today or Playground we had back then and put the code in, and that's how people would play your map with their friends. It was all like that. So like you didn't really know if your map. The way to tell if your map was like crazy popular back then is if you went into Playground and you saw those maps in there, people were playing. You could you would. I don't even remember what maps back then were like super popular, but like I think maybe the pit towards the end, something like that. Like maybe towards the end of Playground was one of those. But you guys get the idea. So that we had no idea if your map was doing good or not. Like you didn't. This is really old school. To test your maps back then, you would make your map, publish it, and then you would go into Playground, and I would sit by the portal. I'd put my map code in the portal, and people would in Playground. So Playground mode was basically the Fortnite Creative Hub, which it's still there. You can kind of see it. So imagine that, but there was either 8 to 16 portals. I can't remember up there, and everyone would go in there, and you could put your own maps in there, and there was also some feature spots as well in there. So Epic, which at the time I never even submitted for feature. I actually had, here you go. I didn't have beef with Epic, like personally. I personally, I've always been like, I want to be my own success, my own destiny. So I didn't even send my maps to Epic at the time. I didn't, whatever. It was just me. I didn't care. So anyway, that's how you would do it. You'd have to. I would sit there, put your code in, and I would do all these little, like, I'd put a spray with an arrow. I'd do all these like emotes, and sometimes you would get people to come in, and you'd hop in, they'd check out your game. It would break immediately. Then you had to go fix it, and then you'd try again. That was the process. A lot of map creators though today got their maps popular. That's how they did it.
Wow. Yeah. No, I mean, I can tell you, I definitely know of the part of first playtest maps break immediately. The amount of times I can remember one launch of a map, we had so much build up to it and everything, and it came to the first game of the session. Everyone loads in, it's doing perfectly fine. Game ends. Oh dear.
Yeah,
it ends before we even start.
That was a setting, I'm sure. I'm sure it was a setting. I think I've seen that one happen a few times. A lot. That's pretty common. The game definitely there's that's. I mean, we're still doing that, but I mean that. Like I always say this: a good mechanic, a good programmer. It's more not that they can do one mechanic or one sequence. It's if it can do that same thing 3 to 5 other different ways, because things break so much, or things, that is really, I think, why I became very successful in that space, is because I didn't give up. A lot of creators, they're like, oh, it's a bug, it's on Epic, I can't do nothing about it. It's broke. That's how their process or their idea. And I never relied on Epic. My idea was, how can I
go around it?
How can I achieve something different, or can, maybe there's maybe there's a less, optimal way to do it, but it still achieves something. But that's why every update, especially early on, I mean, a lot of updates would break your map. And I immediately would be on it. I would fix it immediately. My map would be back. And I get all these DMs from the biggest creators in the world right now. Dude, how'd you fix this? And I'm like, I'll tell you in a week. I'll tell you later.
Oh, that's brilliant. I mean, this community is definitely something now. I mean, the way it's evolved. I mean, I've only come into the community, especially in the past year and a half, is when I've really come into it and started to learn a lot about it. I mean, I'm just looking at some of your community. One of the things that caught me off guard is actually when I announced this episode, one of the people under the comments put a butter bomb meme, which I didn't understand at the time. So I looked into it, and I could just see you. I believe it was one of your creator showcases.
Yep.
And I just saw you get butter bombed.
No, yes. So look, that's Gem. She's a part of the Fortnite creative community, and also a big part of the Fortnite Creator Showcase. And just like one of the sweetest people I've had the pleasure of meeting. Super nice, super talented, and she used a regular on the Fortnite Creator Showcase. And so she and Sloan, another creator, they created this map, and they're showing me off their map. So Fortnite Creator Showcase is a stream I put on monthly. Anyone can sign up, and you're picked at random. I think, do I have it? I don't know if you're going to hear it through. Can you hear it? I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it. I don't think so. But anyway, I'm playing my soundboard here.
No,
but basically,
I don't think we can hear it. Oh, darn it.
It's okay. Yeah, I
Ah,
think I had to change my input. But anyway, I have a jingle for the board spinning. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But um, you pick that random, and you have 5 minutes to show off your map. So they had a map, but I think something broke, or they needed to fix something. Something didn't seem right. So this was the first time was totally by accident.
hmm.
But I'm pretty sure it was right around the time the video player came out, and the video player became like with like five stock videos. That's all you could
Yeah.
do, unless you're an epic, um, unless you
Partner.
not even an epic.
Oh no, not Epic Partner.
Well,
Yeah.
basically
Yeah.
yes, but like you're in like the, I've been in the beta program. They don't even do that anymore. For UEFN,
Yeah, no, they
and
don't.
and basically if you didn't have like if you didn't work with Epic, you had to use those five stocks, but you could put custom videos, but it all had to be through Epic, and is usually
Yeah.
with big brand deals.
Yeah.
Legends Landing, I worked with Epic and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So, long story short, Butter Barn was one of the videos, and so I was checking out their map, and it was something they accidentally like had it super loud, and it kicked on. It wasn't supposed to, and so it was a total like um I'm never gonna give you up. Rick Astley, like that's not like it's one of those moments, and it was just like blasting in my ear, and I was just like, you got what is this? Did you guys just rickroll me? Like what is going on? And it just became a meme at that point. So then they thought it was funny to every time after that they come on the show, they would set it up. They would set up. I
Oh.
wouldn't know, and then it would be totally normal. Oh, this is cool, and then boom. So now it's like a whole thing with them, and it's been fun, and I play along. I love it. I love stuff like that where, we, anything about me, I'm about having fun and having a
Yeah.
good time, because what else are we doing here if we're not having fun?
Yeah. I mean, no, when I saw it, I would admit I spent about 3 minutes just staring at it, trying to figure it out. Because it was just the pancake image. It wasn't the video or anything.
Oh yeah, it's evolved. It's evolved
Yeah,
now. There's
it
like
was
a whole
just.
thing. Yeah.
I was like, okay, clearly there's something between pancakes and immature that I don't get. But no,
I
then I looked into it and saw there's this whole butter bar meme around it. And admittedly, I watched it the first time, and I just watched it on repeat for a couple of times because I was still laughing. And but no, I mean, I've joined in some of your creative streams, especially in the past like couple months. I've joined in with some of them and got to show off a couple maps we've worked on, and got to show off those. And you've just announced yours for this month, January 3rd, I believe it is, if I read that correctly.
13th.
Oh,
You're
13th.
close. Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
So
13th.
next, yep, January 13th. Yeah, man. I do them. I try to do them monthly. Some months I miss. I have a new role. I'm head of Fortnite at GameFam right now, so we're like
Yeah.
super busy, lots of projects and things. And the weekends, I'm married with 2 kids, so the weekends is when I see, and I hate saying this, but I barely see I work. I try to get off at 5. I see my kids for 2 hours before they go to bed. So the weekends are the time I really can see them with my family. So I don't always get to, but I do the stream, try to do it once a month, and it is just super fun. And it's not about me. It's not about, anything but other than Fortnite creators.
Yeah.
And your guys' maps. I don't promote any of my stuff. It's really just to hang out. Like so many people have met, so many people have, they're like the who's of Fortnite creators will be in there. Like they just come and hang out, check out what everyone's doing. And it doesn't matter your skill level. You could just be starting, or you've had Ode on. I mean, you've had the best creators on there. You have brand new creators. It doesn't matter. It's not about that. We're celebrating Fortnite Creative and UEFN, and it's just more or less like for me, I kind of said it earlier, is like very alone. Like early on, you're just very alone in this space, and because just not a lot of people get it.
No.
Your girlfriend, your wife, your kids, your family, they don't hey, I created this cool 1v1 map with that brain, like cool, like no one gets that, right? So
Yeah.
we're very small niche still
Mm.
in regards. So it's nice to I just want to hang out and talk. Like if you know me, you met me, like I will talk Fortnite creative. I could be here 5 hours. Like when I meet people, like-minded people, I love just talking. This is what I love to do. I love
Yeah.
this. Like I wake up every day excited to do this. So
No,
I'll talk about it all day, but it's so nice to really meet people, help them possibly either connect with other creators or show off their creations.
Yeah.
And I think it also, a lot of people, it's their first time, like, don't, and I get this a lot too, people who have never been like live on stream or talked publicly like that, because
Yeah.
you have to have your mic, you need to talk. Can't come on without being able to communicate. It's not
Yeah.
your video or anything like that. You
No.
do need to talk. That
Yeah.
because I'm not going to go fly through your map, and I don't know about your map. I want you to explain. So it is really, I think a lot of people, they're don't be nervous either. Please, I mean, that's easier said than done. I understand, but
Yeah.
like, it ain't that. It ain't. Were you nervous your first time?
Uh, I no, I don't think I was, but the reason was because it was the entire Starfall team. We
Oh,
had
okay, yeah.
it was all of us there, and it actually, sorry, all but one of the team was there, and we were just we were excited to show it off because actually we were the last entry on
Oh, bummer.
the
I'm
yeah, we were
sorry.
the last entry on the video.
Oh no.
We were the last one. We were sat there. I don't know how long the stream was, but we were watching it and working the entire time. We had it. I had it up on one monitor watching, and I was working on the other one. And
Oh
we were just like, every time we spun the wheel, we stopped working and looked at the stream, and we were like going back and forth. And we're like, oh darn it, he didn't get picked again. But
no. Well, and so the first three people we do pick on this show is actually people who have never been on this show, because I try to avoid that. And there's people that have come on the show, like been on a few of the shows, and hasn't made it.
yeah,
I try to, because it's usually about a 3 hour stream, but we always probably go closer to 4. I always try to get as many as I can. And towards the end, it's just people are falling off the stream and it's not as many people. So thank you. Sorry. But again, the whole idea is to help promote everyone
yeah,
else. And hopefully you guys can get some plays out of it or whatever it is. That's the idea. And I actually have bigger plans. I'm really wanting to do a multi-stream and actually, I think, make it like me, either my channel or a dedicated creator map showcase, and bring fun guests in, co-hosts, and make it a little more fun and more of a experience. I don't know. I have some more plans for it. It's just I have all these ideas and I just don't have the time.
yeah. I mean, when I started making FCNews, I had so many ideas, and the first one was this podcast, as I wanted to get out there, and it's something I hadn't seen too much of people doing. I know you've had your own little stint at podcasting with, I believe it's Creative Juice. I think that's what it was.
Yep. I actually was the first Fortnite creative
Yeah.
podcast. I started having a few guests, but it was I didn't know what I was doing. No, this was years back. I've actually possibly might bring it back, but again, it takes a lot of time and
Yeah.
effort to like do it at scale and to do it at, I want it to be popular and successful. So the more popular you get, the better, more people will say yes to come on, right? It's just easier.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think eventually, but podcasts are tough. Podcasts are really tough in the influencers. It's just a lot of a long time for people to invest.
Yeah.
And creative, again, is still small, right? It's still a small niche. So there's very select few people. So yeah, I mean, I would still get a few thousand people watching them, and things like that. I think, and that was without video, no face, and any of that stuff. So
No.
I don't know. Cool. I'm glad you're doing it. And thanks for having me on this. I try to support as many creators as I can. I'd love to see just people bringing their brands out and trying new things in Fortnite creative, and seeing what sticks and what lands. This is all learning.
Yeah. No, I mean, when I started back in September with the first episodes, I had no clue what I was really doing. And the people who I had on for the first season were all people I had prior talked to and had a decent, I've known them for like a couple months or something, or even years for some of them. And so I felt like really good with them. And I just kind of make it like a casual chat. And that's honestly what it felt like to start with. But then I started to get further into it, and people who I still talk to, but not as much as them, it started to get more me into this podcast swing. And now that, because I've had a couple conversations with you, and had a couple talks, and you've only probably just recently learned how to say my name with the
Yeah, I had to ask you.
amount of times I've been called what is it?
It's Giggila, right? Or Giggila? Yeah.
Giggila, or yeah, any sort of other name than Giggler. But you're not the first, honestly. I just laugh every time someone does, and but no, yeah, podcasting is definitely something. It's definitely a very interesting thing, and to get a guest like yourself on to this podcast, and it's absolutely great that you've said yes to come on, and I'm very thankful that you have, and especially with your busy schedule and everything.
Oh, no problem, man. No, thanks for being here. Like I said, man, I love this. Is fun. This is like a break. I love doing this stuff. I love to talk about
Yeah.
Fortnite creative.
Well, let's jump to another thing that you have actually brought up already. Game Fam Studios. You are head of
Fortnite. Yeah,
head of Fortnite. What do you do there?
So, yeah. So basically, I'm kind of just oversee the studio. I run the studio. I mean, we have Game Fam is massive. So Game Fam, for anybody who doesn't know, I used to have my own Fortnite creative studio, Catalyst Studios. Here's the sticker. But I worked with Epic, worked with big brands and stuff. It was very successful. And Game Fam is the biggest Roblox company, like studio, production studio in the world. They're massive. They have some of the biggest games. Top 10
wow, okay. Yeah.
IP game, like IP branded games. We have 3 of them: Sonic, Barbie, SpongeBob, some more.
Wow.
Like insane. They're massive. So UEFN started coming out, and they were looking to delve into UEF, wanted to come in this space, and I basically love the CEO, good relationship with him, and we had they decided to acquire my company, and I'm now going to do what I do, but a lot bigger now. And so they acquired my company, and then I'm running the Fortnite side here. So we have like over 250 developers in our studio.
Wow.
Yeah, it's massive. And we also have some, we have our dedicated core team as well. That's strictly Fortnite, but we can pull from any facets of, we have graphic designers, UI designers, 3D modelists, environmentalists, program, anyone from, in the gaming facets we can have not at our disposal. They're all working on massive games and stuff, but we do have, it's very cool. It's very nice to have these resources, especially with UEFN being so new and learning and trying to figure out what makes sense. And but yeah, so I basically oversee the day to day there. It's lots of meetings. I'm in meetings all the time with either brands or my team, or there's a lot of that going on. There's also lots of play testing and talk marketing, all the things that go into the video games or into this space. I kind of got my hands in just because we are new, and I've been in this space and facet so long that and they're primarily Roblox, so I'm having to kind of oversee a lot of it, and just make sure everything's running how it is. But I have an awesome team. the guys I have on my team have been around as well, just as long as I have. Some of them, and they're all super talented. Like,
Yeah.
and it's funny, we got lucky, but like some of them, they were big players in Fortnite Creative, but they also like have game design degrees and stuff you would never know. So they actually like when UEFN came out, it was actually even better for them. So like, so yeah, we're just super fortunate. Yeah, that's kind of what I do over there. And it's it's I'm probably putting in 12 hours a day at least.
Wow.
So yeah, but it's like I said, it's fun. It's a new challenge.
Mm.
Lots of cool opportunities have come from it. I've met lots of cool people, and I'm just, I get to work with some of the best and biggest people in our industry. And I'm super thankful for that.
Yeah,
I
mean, I
I
thought
miss
a team of
developing
5
though
was big.
myself. I miss personal development games.
Oh,
I've actually
yeah.
started again, but it's kind of
Oh,
like
okay.
after work, I've dedicated like an hour or two. I'm going to start making um, personal maps, but I don't know if they'll ever see the light of day, but I'm just really, I miss it. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of like no matter what, I will
It's what you
always.
started with.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. I like I was missing something, and I like again I started building again. It's like it's like a puzzle, the last puzzle piece. It's like, oh, I'm home. I love that. Like it just makes for me whatever it is. It's just like it's like a that reward, that dopamine system, like building games and like figuring out problems and stuff. It's just so fun. I love that process. And then when you see that what you've done like equates to people also enjoying your games, it's like the
Mm.
best. Like I cannot explain. It's like my kids being born, and then there's like you're seeing, thousands of CCUs on your game. Like it's like an insane feeling. Um, I've actually though I've one of my map. I know we've seen some of these massive CCUs, but I mean I've had more like more than 100. I used to get. I think I've seen a few 100,000. We couldn't see CCUs back then, but I mean, I
Mm.
would get millions of plays of the day. I don't know. Did you remember LTMs?
Yeah. Did you get
I
one of
was for.
those?
I got one of my. I've actually had multiple
Oh.
LTMs.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah. So I mean, and that's why I have another reason I have a huge amount of plays too, right?
Mm.
So they would. I mean, I don't know what it was, but it's probably 100,000. Because back in Fortnite back then, you had like Save the World, you had
Yeah.
Fortnite, you had like a few other LTMs, and then you had your map. There was like six. Imagine if Discovery had six choices and one of them was your map. Imagine that. Like,
If Discovery today had 6 maps, first off, it would be Mayhem. Second of all, it would be those 6 maps per se would be getting hundreds of plays per hour. No, sorry, 100,000
oh
plays per
yeah.
hour. I was about to say 100. No.
So and dude, when all that happened, because I was in the first group too, so I didn't know. I actually thought like, oh, I don't know if this is even going to amount to anything, but whatever, we'll see. I didn't think it was gonna
Yeah.
be crazy. And when I first saw the numbers, I was blown away.
Oh wow.
And I remember though, I got one of my LTMs. I got to win it live after an update day. It broke the map,
Oh.
and I had literally millions of players trying to play my map and couldn't. Let me tell you the worst
Oh.
feeling. It's the
Oh
worst feeling
no.
ever. And I like I can probably say this now. I was up. I mean, I was working my full time job back then too.
Mm.
You weren't like really making that much money. You were making money, but not enough to like for a guy like me with family and kids to like leave.
Yeah.
And those you would make considerable good money off LTMs, and so that was huge. Like you need to fix your map immediately, but I'm at work, so like
Oh.
yeah, dude, I'm like taking a break. I'm like running to my room, like trying to fix. I think and it wasn't too crazy. I think I got it, or I was like on my phone, like trying to fix it. Like I don't know if you've ever done Fortnite creative on your phone, but not easy.
I haven't yet, but I've got it on my phone now, and there will be a time when I have to do that.
Yeah,
I'm sure, but
no,
I'm fortunate to say I haven't had to run to my setup and get on to fix something. As normally, when someone finds something, there's at least someone else on, so they normally get on and fix it. If not, then red alert, everyone hands on the deck.
Yeah.
But no, I'm fortunate to say I haven't had to have that. But also, all the team maps that I've put out and worked with, it's normally been under someone else's code. And when it used to be, when it was just under that person's codes, you could only work when that person was on. But now
Yep.
with UEFN, if you give permission to them, they can access it, which makes life so much easier. And you don't have to just wait for one person. But especially when your entire team is filled with people who don't do it full time, and they're all off doing different things, and especially with my time zone difference, I work with mostly um, East Coast people and a couple Central, and the time zone is, if I want to work at, say, midday for me, they're all asleep. They're still all
Yep.
asleep. I can't get on. I
No,
can't.
you would. I remember I would have to like, because you, and also the creative server, you had like 3 hours to build before it
Yeah,
got reset.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
would, to work with somebody like yourself at night, because again, I used to work with like Maka Makes, Mad Moose, some of the most
yeah,
insanely talented people I've ever seen in Fortnite creative, and Fortnite creative 1.0, this like kit bashing, what they call it, but you had to take, we couldn't import anything, so only the pieces that
yeah,
Fortnite give you, you would take and mold things, and these people would make insane things that you could never thought of. So
oh yeah,
basically, what I would do is at night before I went to bed, I'd get them in a server and just
mm.
turn my screen off, and go to bed, let them work. I mean, as
Yeah,
there were so many things we had to do. I mean, at a point though, like you get to a team, like so at a point you just get like a team account, and then
yeah.
but then like you just had to make sure no one else was logged in, so then they could log in, and it
Yeah,
it
we had.
it
I've had one of those before, and that made it easy for when I was working with that team, which is actually no longer a team actually, but it's now rebranded as something else and with different members, and
well,
they switched everything up there, which is honestly great, and they've done
totally.
amazing there. Still keep in contact with them, but
Well, I mean, what was cool too, and I'm glad how it is now. It's so much easier. But got to once we could hotbar up to 100 items. And I don't know who pioneered this. I know it might be Mad Moods, who, by the way, is owner of Vicena, one of the biggest
mm,
Fortnite creative studios. They're massive. Um, he literally knew he would make these insane, his logo, crazy pieces that take hundreds of pieces, and he could
oh,
like it would copy them up in like 8 different sections. He would build it in sections so he could put it hotbar them and bring them
oh
into your
wow,
map and paste it. So we
oh
didn't even have to work.
yeah,
Like he would build all night in his map. I would come on and then he would just move it in.
oh wow. Was it using those primitive shapes? Is that what
Yeah,
it was?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember using those. I don't actually use them too much now because now we've got importing,
Yeah.
and
There's no,
I
yeah.
don't find myself using them too much
You
nowadays.
don't need to
But
now. I would never use them. Actually, I mean, you
no,
could use them. I think you could really optimize with your own assets that you can
oh yeah, no,
really lower the poly count. You don't need that.
yeah, no, you don't. Especially with memory, you get in. Just say you're making like a pillar or something with it, or like some sort of sculpture. It just count now as like what, 3, 4, 5 memory instead of how many individual pieces it adds up to, and that would bring you up to like a couple hundreds in the memory count, which never is great for a map.
For
But
sure. I mean, I would use like 5% of your map just for like logos for clients. It's
yeah,
like right, some of these logos were massive. I mean,
mm,
even the FNCS crest, which it was massive in a map. And again,
mm,
Matt Moods made that logo and was massive. It had so many pieces, but it was you couldn't tell. You couldn't
yeah,
tell that it was made like that. I miss that. I really do miss Fortnite Creative 1.0. There was just a different skill set, and it was hard to replicate. So
yeah.
I miss those days.
Yeah, I actually I do still work 1.0 is because one person has the session open and then we work on all the buildings and everything around. And we've got one person who's in the editor who's really good at like the terrain and everything. And we've even got an amazing coder on our team who's literally doing things no one else has done so far, and it's amazing to
Sweet.
see it. It's a guy named Ash, and he's absolutely amazing at what he does. He's taken this small space of time with UEFN, and he's absolutely crushed it.
Dude.
He is, with the amount of stuff here, with importing, with the verse, with everything. It's just incredible to see. Like
That's
I'm
awesome.
trying to learn verse, failing miserably, but
I mean, there's no failing. I mean, you have
yeah,
it's just like Fortnite Creative 1.0. Like you can be decent at a lot of things, or you can be really good at one thing. So you could be a really great mechanic, or a really good 3D artist, a sculptor, whatever, landscape. You could be really good at those certain things,
yeah,
or you'd have your style. And that's the same with UEFN. You a programmer, you need to be putting in the hours every day, constantly. Like
oh
you
yeah,
can't, and if you don't, you start forgetting it. It's just like, but it's just the reps, the repetition. It's just like figuring, but like a lot of the problems that like like also is time, and your bug fixing time gets
yeah,
a lot lower the more you're doing it. So instead of it taking you 8 hours to 5 hours, 4 hours to figure out this bug, it's gonna take you 5 minutes. And that
yeah,
just gets, the more you're doing this stuff, it's just boom, boom, boom. So
yeah,
I'm I was a top programmer in 1.0, and I barely have messed with verse. It's not. I'm I I want to. Like, it's not even because I don't want to. It's just because I know what it takes to be.
yeah,
Like, I'm a very, like, I want to be the best at everything.
oh yeah,
And so it will consume me if I start.
mm,
And I will one day. I will be going. I will. It will one day when I have time. I will be fully getting into it, and I'm excited about it. But
mm,
it's just, yeah, like you said, man, it's tough, and you just gotta. Uh, it's cool to know, like, unless you're actually like making your own stuff and you really need to know it. Like, I think just messing around with it enough to kind of, so you understand it is good enough,
I mean,
depending
messing
on
around
what
with
you do
anything,
in your
and
team.
yeah, I mean, to be fair, my specialty is I can kind of do like nature and terrain design, that sort of thing. That's my type of area. And I especially hate the foliage tool, which just recently came to UEFN. As if if you just need a landscape, a couple trees and everything, oh yeah, I'd do that. Nope, now you can take 5 seconds with a brush. I hate that tool with a passion. We specifically don't use it in that team. We do everything by hands.
Oh,
I resent that tool with a passion. It's
I-
an amazing tool, but it takes away from some of the things that I can do.
no, yeah, well, it's like AI today.
Yeah, honestly.
It's starting to take jobs away from us.
Yeah,
No, I mean, it's not even funny to say, but yeah, I mean,
yeah,
you're right. I mean, it's nice. Like, I mean, we will get to a time where you can really be a solo dev and make. I
yeah.
mean, people, there already is that. There's already solo devs making crazy
Oh yeah.
things, but it's just going to get easier and easier for more people to
Oh
do.
yeah. No, I mean, with the projects I've been working on, it's especially cool just to kind of see what people's styles are in this. Is we've got a guy who's absolutely amazing at propping and does his style for everything and that sort of thing. Then we've got a coder. We've got a guy who's great at like building landscapes and everything. And we the team comes together, and it's a force to be reckoned with when it comes to creative.
Teams are important. Teams definitely, there's, if you have a good supportive team,
Hmm.
they are unstoppable. But I you see a lot. It's tough to get that, or you get one bad egg in your team, and it's it's tough not to sometimes, right? Because
Yeah,
creative is very frustrating. This business is very frustrating sometimes. There's a lot of things out of our hands.
yeah,
And so, but you just get those guys, you know, like, and I was this way early on too, as it's like, oh, why did that map get featured, or why is,
yeah.
you know,
Oh,
why
we've
it's
had
so
that.
and so this my stuff's way better, you know, like you just get in that mindset and grind, and it's um you get a team that's not like that, um, more so like, you know, like, oh, congratulations, good for them. That whatever they're doing doesn't affect me. What I'm doing,
Yeah,
that they're not, that's them. You know, good for them. I'm gonna do my best, and I'm gonna keep trying. And
yeah,
learn why. Go start instead of saying this. Go try to go understand why. Um, why did that get successful, or why is that still here? What's going on? And a lot of people, again, and this was because I was uneducated. I would say, oh well, that's just, you know, they're, you know, it was either luck or they got help from this one, or, you know, they know somebody inside with Epic, like all that shit. I used to say all that stuff, and it's
oh,
not true. Like I
yeah.
just, if you're
Oh,
putting in the work
yeah.
every day, and you're, and I'm not talking about just maps though. That's where a lot of people
Mm.
fail is, and I say this every time I can, because I really want Fortnite. I want anyone to hear me that's trying to be successful in this business. 49% is game development, 51% is marketing, social media.
Oh, yeah.
So if you don't have like, don't have you, if you have the time to make awesome games, you can make a little of that time. You're gonna have the skill to be an influencer, or to make content. And there's MetaHuman. You don't have to use your face. There's voice changers. There's
Yeah.
AI. There's so many different tools out there to make your own social, like do your own social media. You don't even have to use your face,
Yeah.
or even talk anymore. You can text. So it's like
Yeah.
no excuse. And back when I started, I mean, I learned Photoshop. I made my own thumbnails. I learned Adobe Premiere, um, how to Adobe Audition,
Yeah.
you know, all these edits. I learned all that myself on top of my maps, and it was just like you had to do both. And
Mm.
that's probably why I'm here talking to you. Like you have to, um, you can't stop at your game. And sure,
Oh,
I
yeah.
know there's people that just aren't interested in that social media side. I get it. I
Yeah.
understand it. It is another job. It's another part of it. But you know that, how are you, you know, there's definitely, there's literally a metric for new players coming in. They just this, so like obviously that's a weight. That's a reason why a map is in discovery. That's going to stay in discovery, because it's getting new players.
Yeah.
How is your map getting new players if you're not making any content on it?
Yeah.
It might sit in discovery and get new players that way, sure. But if my map's catching up to you, and I'm still pumping, you know, Boy Dilly has 500, 800 videos on Go Goated.
Yeah.
You're, that's getting, still getting plays, still getting views. But like that's what I'm
Mm.
saying. Like you got to set yourself up for success. It's very hard. I know. It's easy for it's. I done it though, and if I
Yeah.
could do it, I'm not the smartest guy. I'm a guy that doesn't take no for an answer, or I don't care. I don't think about excuses. I just keep. I'll find a way. You'll find a way.
Yeah.
If someone's done it, I can do it. You know, that's
Yeah.
just that mindset you have to have.
It's a great mindset to have. I mean, to be honest, I'm still in that kind of middle stage where it's like I'm not a beginner at this. I know lot of things, know quite a few people, but I'm not at that top range of creating maps on my own, branding and everything. I'm in the middle where I'm still editing. I still edit everything that I put out.
Beautiful.
Um,
You should.
and yeah, I mean, that way I'm looking at every single thing I'm doing, taking notes on what I can improve from everyone. It's like one thing I've said, like to the team when I've talked about the podcast episodes to them, is I've improved every single time because I've looked back at the last one, seen what I did then, and not that I may have done something wrong, but I can do something better. And especially with my editing, because with the podcast is the first time I've actually edited a full video on my own. And all the podcast episodes are edited by me and recorded by me, and everything there has been my first time recording on my just by myself, but obviously recording someone else, editing on my own, publishing on my own, and it's all done individually. So I'm still in that middle stage where it's still taking time to build up, but I've got knowledge as well, and I mean, and not to your level of knowledge, because you've been around, well, comparably to me, you've been around double my length, so.
But you're doing it. You're trying it. You're getting into it. It's reps. It's just like your first map's gonna suck. Like your first map's gonna be awful. Your second map's gonna be a little better, but not still awful. Like it's just like it. A lot of people rather just sit, watch tutorials, listen to podcasts, like, and that's great. You can do that too. You're gonna learn some things for sure. I'm not saying like all of us probably a lot of people I know learned how to from my tutorials how to build. So like, that's great. I look at tutorials too. I mean, that's how I learned how to edit and stuff. But like, there's a part where you just got to go do it and stop worrying about what people think. Because those are usually people with those opinions. It's coming from a place because either why would somebody go out of their way to take time out of their day to write something negative or say something negative about it? Why? What are they? I don't have time to do that. I would never do that. Like I don't even understand. Like if you're trying, that's awesome. Keep going. Like those people are just they're jealous or they don't like their life. They're sick. So don't listen to that voice. Don't listen to those people. Do what you're doing. Start trying it yourself, because here's the best part. You're learning a new skill and all that stuff. But like, say you do get to a point where you're like, hey, I want, my maps are starting to take off, or my social media is starting to take off. I want to do this. Like, you're going to have a skill set where you kind of understand videos. And when you talk to an editor, you're going to be able to tell them things. Like you're not going to just be at the mercy of that editor and being like, here's what I want you to make. And then they're going to go try to make something. It's like, you're going to kind of know the lingo. You've already been there. You already kind of like know what to say and what to look for. And it's kind of like a lot easier process than than that. So I'm, good job on you for taking this on. And I would challenge you if you, start making your own, when you do your personal projects or whatever, like TikTok, YouTube shorts, like 30-second video, 20-second video on your map, try to do some fun edits, whatever. Just try it, see what happens.
Yeah, no, I mean, short form content has become such a huge thing in the past year or so. Well, sorry, more than a year actually, but especially for gaming, it's become a big thing in the past couple of years. And I do have my own. I've tried a couple things in it, and I only actually really started to work on the shorts in between season 1 and today. I've released 2 on there, and they're all right. Obviously, I'm still new to the shorts. I've still got plenty to learn, and I know that. And I've just got to take time, make a couple of mistakes along the way, but I'll learn from those, and you learn from every single mistake you do. That's just the way it is. I think that's a great way to look at it.
Totally, and that's smart. Just keep, I like some videos, like even your first video might pop off. It's possible. You don't even know until you try. So, just look. You go. If you're having trouble and your videos aren't working, and you say, I literally can hear the people saying, well, I've done that and I don't get any, like, I'll tell you this. And I used to make videos because to what I like, it was about me, what I liked. And you have to learn how to take that, but put it in a form, either in tutorials or an entertaining way to make other people like that. Or your map. You need to sell your map. It should be an advertisement, like a silly. I literally, if you go look at my, I have millions of views on my trailers on TikTok and YouTube. It's all like I would do infomercials. Are you sick of having to reset your builds manually? Like, you know what I mean? It's funny. You catch people's attention and challenge you to go look at what is popular. Go look at my videos. Go copy. I don't care. Go look at videos that are popular in your niche and study it. Why? And then don't one for one copy them. Put your own spin on it or try it out. Do that and then post it and then tell me what happens.
Yeah.
Because guess what? You're gonna in this process, then you're gonna start learning. I started I wish I would have started there and worked my way back instead of just for years I posted just gameplay here, voice stuff that for me, it was always for me that I thought people wanted, and that was the wrong way to go about things. 100%. But it's a process, it's a journey. It's just doing it, and you will learn it, you will get it. It's work though. That's at the end of the day, it is work. You have to challenge yourself, and put in the work.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think this entire space around it's all about pushing the limits of everything, and I mean, we've seen it with some of the creations we've seen in maps and social media and everything, and I mean, it's really incredible to see what people are able to do with what resources they do have. Some people have a lengthy amount of resources, put out amazing work, but you also have those smaller creators who put out amazing work, but they only have a short, limited selection of what they can use. Yet they're still pumping out amazing maps, videos, shorts, everything.
For sure. I mean, Five Walnut, who he's still around, but in 1.0 he was like used his phone and he would make insane sculptures. Like he would make sculptures out of all the like we only had 100,000 memory. He would take all of them for his sculptures. They were massive. Made on mobile, insane, insane. But he only had a phone and he made a name for himself. But like if you have a phone, you can make content. You can do so much. Yes, it is a little harder. I will admit that. But if you have a phone, you got a camera. You can do a face cam. You can do you have a mic now, right? And there's a huge AI trend right now. I know with thumbnails, and I don't want to get into the semantics of or what do you call that? Gosh, I can't think of the word, but basically, people can that's like for free. Basically, you can make a thumbnail now.
Yeah.
Like and that people are wanting to click on. So like, I'm not whatever about that. I'm impartial on those things. I don't really get into that. But I'm just saying, like, there's so many things out there. It's so much easier to do content. So definitely jump on it, regardless of what you said. Like on your phone, you can make that. Like so there. Like you don't need a powerful PC on PowerPoint to make these crazy thumbnails. It does make it easy.
I don't have an amazing setup. Admittedly, I've got two monitors, and honestly, I'm surprised it's not held by duct tape and like sticky glue sometimes with some of the issues I've had. But it works, and I can put out these sort of things. And it's taken me time, but I've learned these things. Made a couple errors along the way, but I survived. I made it out.
I started in a remote workplace doing this stuff. Like I had a little laptop, and I would record off of OBS off my little laptop. And I would carry my Xbox with me. Like I would travel thousands of miles with all this just to make content. And it wasn't, and I didn't upgrade or do anything. Like I just, like I did that for a while. And once I did make a little money, I would invest back into myself, but you don't need that. You really don't. You don't, do the best quality you can. I always say that, like whatever the best quality you can produce, do that. That is going to help you, your mic quality, all that stuff. But don't people do it way too early. They invest a lot of money in, they and then we all get that, right? We all start playing guitar, and now we want this $2,000 guitar, and we suck, right?
Oh.
That's me. But like, you don't need to do that. That's not necessary. Like, make sure you've in it for a while, you really like it, and you're starting to see success. Then go ahead, reinvest back into yourself and to help. But it's not necessary. I know I'm saying that literally on like a $700 mic, so that's very ironic. But this was from, like I said, I've
reinvested in yourself.
Yep.
I mean, I'm admittedly working on a £20 mic,
Dude,
but
I have my phone. Before all that, I was literally on my phone recording voice. My voiceovers are embarrassing, but I mean, that's when I started. I didn't even know. I honestly didn't even know that how important that if that was important. Unfortunately, I wasn't. It wasn't. Good audio is important. I will say that good voice quality is. If you have bad voice quality, it's tough to keep people's attention.
Yeah. But no. I mean, thank you for coming on. I mean, it's been a pleasure to have you on, and it's been a pleasure to talk to you. Is there anything you want to say, get out there? Anything you want people to know?
I've been able to do that this past hour. just chatting. No, man, it's fun. I can't believe it's already been an hour. No, look, thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
No worries.
Thanks for supporting the community and doing things like this. I love to see it. I love to support others as well, and I hope others see this and do the same. I think maybe I will say one thing.
Go ahead.
And I think, I want when we're talking about like our mindsets and stuff, I really want people to start thinking of Fortnite creative a little differently and social media a little differently. And a lot of people, and again, I'm saying this from a space because my mind wasn't like this before. It was very like me, or I'm not going to like that post, or I don't like this guy, or I don't like this, or cool content, but I don't want to like it because then he's going to get more plays. Like that mindset. And really when you start thinking like, all of us as a community, whether we like each other or not, if new people don't come into this space, Fortnite creative goes away.
Yeah.
Like, sure, people will stay, but like, if we're not bringing new people in, it's not getting popular, it's falling. Like, if we're not making great math, like, if none of that's happening, we're done. So, like, support everyone. Anyone doing anything, just comment nice things. Like, don't avoid the negativity. Don't respond to negativity, but just like help everyone out who you can. Because the more like this person brings in, somebody brings in someone into Fortnite and plays their map. When they're done with that, maybe they'll play your map, right?
Yeah.
So like, there's just like that's the whole goal. Everyone's forgetting the main goal here. Is yes, we want people to come and play your map and do that. Please do that. I do that. We all do that. That's great. Yeah. You want people to come play your map, but like we want to support everyone. Support individuals. Support us. Support teams. Whatever. Support Fortnite creative, because overall it means more people into the space. That means more people playing your maps. If you look at, how was when Lego came out? All these new, how was Fortnite OG when that came out? How all these influx of players coming in. If you had a map, regardless if it was like even in Discovery, if it was, like you saw an influx of plays. Like I had maps that, they sit around 50, 100 CCUs, like 300, 500 because of that. And they don't even do Discovery. But like it brings more people that come into Fortnite creative or in Fortnite means more people playing your experience. So yeah, I always try to like get that message out because we are, regardless of if you like it or not, we are together. We can be very strong, and we got Roblox out there that's they have way bigger numbers than us, and we got to get better. We got to beat them. Let's beat them. And I'm saying that from I work for one of the biggest Roblox studios in the world. No, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you for joining me. Honestly, it's been amazing.
All
And
right.
thank you to everyone for listening in and tune in. We'll have more episodes coming out for this season next week. Thank you all. See you later. Bye.